Thursday, August 4th, 2022, worldwide transmission. The jury is out in Austin, Texas, on how guilty I am. I can't be found innocent. The judge told him at least 20 times, including in the jury charge yesterday while I sat there in the courtroom. This man is guilty. I say he is. Now go find out how much money. They said they wanted $3 billion yesterday. They've gone up from $150 million to $3 billion. Might as well be at $3 trillion or $3 quadrillion. It's unbelievable. Then in their closing statements, they said Mr. Jones makes $300 million a year. I thought it was $160 million a year. And it just went on from there, an incredible spectacle. Now, obviously, it was the top on Twitter, the top on the nightly news last night, the top story in the country, Alex Jones. And why was that? Well, this isn't really about what I said questioning Sandy Hook. In fact, I wasn't even sued for those statements. We were sued for statements Owen made, simply reading a Zero Hedge article. But in the charge, where the judge finds us guilty, it's Owen's statements, which isn't defamation or anything, in my view. Simply reading a Zero Hedge article questioning Megyn Kelly's report. But what's the big top story? Why is the international media tuning in right now to try to take edits of what I'm about to say and misrepresent it? I'm sitting there in their cross-examination of me when I was the final witness yesterday morning, and the plaintiff's lawyer said, "Do you know what perjury is?" And I said, "Yeah, I know what perjury is." I'm paraphrasing all this. And he said, "Well, you've engaged in perjury. You told me you'd look for Sandy Hook text messages in your phone. And, well, we have your whole phone now, and we have the Sandy Hook messages." And I said, "Wow, this is your Perry Mason moment. Tell me, please, what it is." "Well, your lawyer accidentally sent us 10 days ago or 12 days ago, whatever it was he said. I'll play the clip in a moment. Accidentally sent us your whole phone." So they're going, And I go, "Well, I do know that I gave the Texas lawyers and the Connecticut lawyers the current phone I had when they subpoenaed it a few years ago. And I dug around and found one of my old phones and just handed it off to IT and said, whatever the search terms are, give it to them." And it turns out that they gave it to them in 6-month chunks up in Connecticut so they could search for the group of terms they gave us. But notice, I was defaulted for not giving them anything. They got depositions. They got hundreds of thousands of emails on every subject you can imagine. They've got my text messages, which they already had in Connecticut. And then when my lawyer in Texas became joint counsel in Connecticut a few weeks ago, they sent him the whole file. And while sending some of those files over to the plaintiff's lawyers, they sent over some files they shouldn't have, mainly the medical records we got in depositions of some of the Sandy Hook families from our depositions. This has been a long litigated fight. So that is wrong. It's a big mistake. The lawyer owns up to it. But the text messages from Alex Jones are from 2019, the end of the year, and a few months into 2020. Nothing about January 6th, like they're saying in the news. Nothing, because yesterday we heard this. We went and looked at the file that was sent, pulled it up, looked at it. I read through it. That's it. Nothing there. But they get up and say, law enforcement's going to want to know about this. And this morning they got up in front of the kangaroo court and said, "I've been contacted by a bunch of law enforcement. Judge, please don't cut any of the feed this morning. They're all watching. And the January 6th committee's involved, and why my ex-wife's involved. Haven't talked to her in years." And just, it's a free-for-all, ladies and gentlemen. And none of it's true. Absolute bull. The Perry Mason moment yesterday that wasn't.
So you did get my text messages. And it said you didn't. Nice trick.
Yes, Mr. Jones.
Oh.
Indeed. You didn't give this text message to me. You don't know where this came from. Do you know where I got this?
No.
Mr. Jones, did you know that 12 days ago, your attorneys messed up and sent me an entire digital copy of your entire cell phone with every text message you've sent for the past 2 years. And when informed did not take any steps to identify it as privileged or protect it in any way. And as of 2 days ago, it fell free and clear into my possession. And that is how I know you lied to me when you said you didn't have text messages about Sandy Hook. Did you know that?
I told you the truth. This is your Perry Mason moment. I gave them my phone, and then...
Mr. Jones, you need to answer the question.
No,
Did you know this happened?
No, I didn't know this happened. But, I mean, I told you I gave them the phone over. Just
answer the question.
You said in your deposition, you searched your phone. You said you pulled down the text, did the search function for Sandy Hook. That's what you said, Mr. Jones, correct?
And I had several different phones with this number, but I did, yeah. Well, of course, I mean, that's why you got it.
No, Mr. Jones, that's not why I have it.
My lawyer sent it to you, but I'm hiding it. Okay.
Mr. Jones?
Mr. Jones,
please just answer questions. There's no question. Mr. Bengtson also only asks questions.
Sure. Mr. Jones, in discovery, you were asked, do you have Sandy Hook text messages on your phone? And you said no, correct? You said that under oath, Mr. Jones, didn't you?
I mean, if I was mistaken, but you got the messages right there.
You know what perjury is, right? I just want to make sure you know before we go any further. You know what it is.
Yes, I do. I mean, I'm not a tech guy. I told you I gave, in my testimony, the phone to the lawyers before or whatever, and so you got my phone, but we didn't give it to you.
No, Mr. Jones. One more time. And please remember, if you need to assert the Fifth Amendment, you can. I need to know that you can do that. But you testified.
You can invoke your Fifth Amendment. And, of course, my lawyer should have got up at that point and said, and I'm not attacking, it's just a fact, show us the deposition. The guy's deposed me. Banks has deposed me. Is it 3 or is it 4 times? And I've deposed 4 times by Connecticut, but I never talked to them, so I'm defaulted. They've got all this stuff. And I did search one of my phones, and it didn't have Sandy Hook stuff in it. And then they came back and said, well, they're saying you're hiding it. Do you have any old phones? Tore the office apart, and I just said, here, go search it and give it to the damn lawyers.